Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. Bob here. Thanks so much for stopping by today. Today we're going to be taking a look at Raven watches for the first time on the channel with the Raven Endeavour. Last year I had the chance to meet the owner of Raven watches just briefly at the Wind Up New York event and check out some of his watches. I was really impressed, so very happy to finally get this one in to take a look at with you guys. Now this one's been making the rounds to a few different channels on a tour that was kicked off by Scott from Watches Galore, so links to all those channels will be in the description below. Massive thanks to Scott as well as Steve, the owner of Raven, for getting this one out to us. So let's get into the Endeavour. All right, now I mentioned about the other guys on the tour, but I forgot to mention the Raven YouTube channel. Steve has a pretty cool channel too that sort of walks you through what's happening with the brand that's worth a look. So I'm going to leave a link to that below as well. So I'll get into the dimensions on the watch here in a minute, but this one's a pretty big watch. It's got some serious wrist presence. Other than the size, which I know is going to be probably a bit too big for some, the watch has an ultra solid build quality from the watch itself down to the bracelet. The bracelet is a president style bracelet, and once you have it sized right, it just molds to the wrist. You can see how it sort of drapes really nicely across my finger there. It does have solid end links. The clasp is milled steel. I'll just open it up here. Nice solid milled steel clasp. We do have screwed links there for easy sizing, and I'm not sure if I've ever seen this style of bracelet on a micro brand diver, not at least in person, but it looks great on the watch. This version of the Endeavour is called the Glacier dial, and I really like the contrast between the black bezel and that white dial. And it's not just a stark white dial either. There almost seems to be hints of blue there like you'd expect from a Glacier. The hour markers are applied as well as that logo up by the 12. Below that is Raven, and just above the date at the 6 is Endeavour, self-winding rotor, and that massive 500-meter water resist. Always like to see the minute and second hand reach out to that chaptering. It helps with legibility and just looks better too when they do that. The bezel is a 120 click coin edge bezel. Very nice, precise feeling action. The insert is a ceramic insert, and they've laid in the lume on this as well as the hour markers and hands. Very thick. They're using BGW9 and no shortage of it either. Nice, bright, and long lasting, and you gotta love that blue tone of it. The case on the watch is completely brushed to a nice finish. Nice looking side profile there with that curvature of the lugs. As far as the measurements go, I'm going to give you 3 measurements when it comes to the case width. So the case at its widest point comes in at 44 millimeters. The bezel protrudes slightly and comes in at 45 millimeters. The case, if you look here, tapers toward the case back down to about 40 millimeters there. So it looks big on wrist, but doesn't feel as big against the wrist, if that makes any sense. Lug to lug is 49.5 millimeters. The lug opening is 22 millimeters. The lugs there are drilled, if you didn't notice, by the way. The thickness I'm getting is 14.5 millimeters. The crystal is a sapphire crystal with an AR coating on the underside, and the watch runs a regulated Sellita SW200 movement. The crown at the 4 o'clock is signed. It's a screw down crown. Same goes for the case back where we have the Raven logo there. So let's get a look on wrist here. And here it is, and it looks every bit its 44 millimeter case width on wrist, 45 millimeter if you're including the bezel. The way that the case tapers and with the crown at the 4 o'clock, you still get that full range of motion you would with a smaller watch though, so it wears really well for a bigger watch. Now these are going for $675 on the site at the moment, and considering what you're getting on the spec sheet as well as that timed and regulated movement, that seems pretty fair to me. If the size is too much, check out the Venture on their site. That one looks really cool too and comes in at 42 millimeters. So that's going to be it for today, guys. Appreciate you stopping by, and we'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.